How's it going, everyone? I'm JJ and welcome back to another Pokémon Journeys episode review. Or should I say, welcome to the final Pokémon Journeys episode review. When I started doing these with the Masters 8 tournament, I said I was going to continue these until the Masters 8 tournament finishes. And in this video, the Masters 8 tournaments will finish. And I tell you what, it has been a very fantastic couple of months doing these episodes. And you never know, they may continue in the future. But for the time being, this is going to be the final Pokémon Journeys episode review I'm going to be doing. I do want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been checking out these videos. I know the Ash vs Leon, 3 episodes that have already been put up before this have been doing absolutely incredible. I think I keep saying, like, last week's was the highest rated and the weeks before that was the highest rated. The support on them has just been fantastic. If I knew back 3 years ago when I did the episode 1 and episode 2 reviews that Pokemon Journeys would have been this good and the support would have been this good as well, I really do wish I would have continued it every single week. But hey, we can't turn back the clock, and it is now time for the final episode. So without further ado, let's get into the final episode of Ash vs Leon. So once again, like all the other episodes, it started up with a little recap of last week's episode. Although it was a very short recap. I don't even think it was longer than 20 seconds. So well done, Pokemon, for doing that. We then get to see Eternatus that is flying around the stadium, and it shoots a big beam into the air, and it gets rid of all the Dynamax cloud that was surrounding the stadium at the end of last week's episode. Eternatus then flies away, and we see that Leon and Ash's Dynamax band has been reinstated, which means they can use Dynamax once again. Leon then brings back Charizard and swaps him out for Cinderace. And straight away, Leon activates his Dynamax band and sends out Gigantamax Cinderace, which I believe is the first time we've actually seen that in Pokemon Journeys, or in fact in the Pokemon anime at all. And since Leon has sent out a Gigantamax Pokemon, Ash returns the favour and Gigantamaxes Pikachu. And I do like the fact that Ash was holding Pikachu and then just threw him into the air to give the Gigantamax form. Both Pokemon then launch their most powerful moves, with Cinderace going for the Gigantamax version of Pyro Ball and Pikachu going for the Gigantamax version of Thunder. Both of them tried to repel these attacks. I mean, Pikachu is trying to push the Pyro Ball away, while Cinderace is trying to kick this Thunder to get it away from them. But both of them get hit and knocked out of their Gigantamax forms. Cinderace then does a cheeky smile, but we find out he's paralysed. But it doesn't matter because it falls to the ground, meaning that he's now out of the battle, which means Leon is on his final Pokemon Charizard. While remember, Ash is also on his final Pokemon Pikachu, so it's starter versus starter. Leon then sends out Charizard, and both of them talk to each other, and during this little exchange of words that they have, we get to see lots of returning characters. I'm just going to read off the returning characters we saw at this part. We got to see Professor Oak, Ash's mum, Tracy. We then get to see, very exciting, Misty, Alexa, Silent, Brock, Max, May, and Serena. And I tell you what, when these came on the screen, I had the biggest smile ever. I was so happy to see these characters. Yes, they are just a static image on the screen, but at this moment, I do not care about that. It's just so good seeing these characters. We haven't seen May and Max for so long. Max even long, I think, is the longest character that hasn't had a return. And it's just so good to see him. It's so good to see May as well. And Serena's there, and Alexa and Silent. Yeah. I mean, you can tell by the way I'm stumbling over these words just how happy I was to see these, how much I'm smiling now. But then heading back to the battle, I've actually written down 2 minutes, but I think it's the next 15-20 minutes of action was just absolutely incredible. I mean, the animation was so incredible. It was so amazing to see. The quality, I mean, I watch it in 1080p, but it felt like 4K. I mean, you could see literally the fur on Pikachu, the emotion that Leon and Ash are putting into these moves. I mean, it was just so incredible. And it didn't feel that the animators rushed this at all. If anything, they have put so much money into this episode. During the amazing animation, we get to see that Charizard and Pikachu are exchanging moves. I mean, you got Charizard launching Ancient Powers while Pikachu's trying to block it with Electro Web. I mean, I can't explain. You'll have to check out the episode because I can't explain how good the animations was. But eventually, both of them decide to power up. Pikachu shoots a massive lightning thunderbolt into the air, while Charizard shoots a massive, like, flamethrower type move in the air. And both of them, you can see, are just charging up. And then we get some more amazing animations. Both were countering each other. Well, it was more like Pikachu was running away from everything and throwing a Thunderbolt here and there and an Iron Tail. It was just so good anime. I mean, you can see the pictures on the screen, but the pictures don't do it justice. You got to check out the episode. But eventually, after a couple moves exchanging, we see Pikachu gets hit with a Fire Blast, sending it to the ground, and Pikachu looks very injured, on the verge of collapsing. We then get to see some more returning characters. I mean, a lot more than we had previously a couple of minutes ago. And we got to see all of Ash's friends and companions. And once again, let me read the list to you. We got to see Chloe and Dawn, remember, who are at the stadium watching, as well as Team Rocket, again, who are at the stadium watching. We then get to see Diantha and Cynthia, Misty, Max, May, Serena, Silent, Brock, Iris, Clement, Bonnie, Lana, Mallow, Sophocles, Lily, Kiawe, Gladion, Professor Kukui, Professor Burnett, Lay, I think that's what the baby's called. I think it's Lay or something like that. Professor Oak, Ash's mum, Tracy, Garrett, Tokyo, and Go. And I'll tell you what, again, when these came on, I had the biggest smile. All of Ash's friends, all of Ash's travelling companions, together watching these battles. It was amazing. It was so good to see. We then head back to Pikachu, and you can see his heavy breathing. I mean, he was breathing all the way through the returns of all of Ash's friends, but you can see it's getting heavier and heavier breathing. His vision is getting blurry. I mean, it's struggling to stand, and eventually, Pikachu falls to the ground. Pikachu then opens its eyes, and it has sort of a vision, because it sees all of Ash's Pokemon, all of Pikachu's friends, all together cheering him on. And once again, I'm going to read another list. We get to see Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charizard, Butterfree, Pidgeot, Kingler, Mr. Mime, Primeape, Tauros, Muck, Lapras, Snorlax, Noctowl, Heracross, Quilava, Bayleaf, Totodile, Donphan and Larvitar, Glalie, Corphish, Sceptile, Torkoal, Ambipom, Swellow, Torterra, Infernape, Gibble, Weasel, Gliscor, Staraptor, Unpheasant, Livani, Palpitoad, Baldor, Scraggy, Oshawott, Pignite, Snivy, Crocodile, Noivern, Halucha, Greninja, Talonflame, Goodra, Incineroar, Lycanroc, Rowlet, Melmetal, Solgaleo, Naganadel, Dragonite, Lucario, Gengar, Surfetch'd, and Dragofish. And finally, Ash. Ash tells Pikachu that everybody is here with him, and he is not alone, we can do this together. Pikachu then stands back up, and the original opening for the Pokemon anime plays in the background. And again, I complained last week that when it was the Gigantamax Charizard against Pikachu Z move, that I would have liked to see a different type of music, and this is the music I was thinking in my head. So again, very happy we got to see this. Both Pikachu and Charizard charge up, and I mean the most they've ever charged up in their life, and they clash for one of the best animated moves we have ever seen. We can see literally every little bit of electricity from Pikachu, every bit of fire from Charizard, the emotions on Pikachu and Charizard as they are clashing and butting heads. Again, fantastic move, until it fades to white. And when Pikachu opens its eyes, it's in the Pokemon Center with Ash. And at this point, I was thinking, there is no way they have just cut it like that. It honestly reminded me of this part of when Ash went back to Alola and he took on Professor Kukui and Gladion and Kiawe in the Battle Royale type thing, how when Professor Kukui and Ash was going to clash with their moves, it just fade to white, and then we cut to the next scene and it's all over. But no, thankfully, it cut back to the battle. And again, I was so happy to see this, and they didn't just cut the battle and find out that something else had happened. We see that Pikachu overpowers Charizard by headbutting Charizard and throwing Charizard back. Charizard fell to the ground, beating it, which means Ash is now the new champion of the world. We then cut back to the Pokemon Center where Pikachu's remembering all this, and Leon comes into the building and thanks Ash for an amazing battles and how super these battles should be. We then have a little flashback to Leon's first ever battle where he was battling Sonia. We got to see a little clips from this with Leon having the Charmander. But yeah, his first ever battle against Sonia, and he lost. So clearly he's not the unbeatable champion that's never been beat, because he lost against Sonia. But hey, nevertheless, back onto the field, Ash gets the trophy, Everyone is super happy, including myself. Then the next morning, Ash gets a phone call from Go, and that is where the episode ends. And wow, what an episode. What an episode to end the Masters 8 tournament. And I've got a few parts I want to talk about more in depth. The first one I want to talk about is Cinderace. And I would have liked to see a bit more of Gigantamax Cinderace. I mean, we got to see what one move that it did, and then it was pretty much over pretty much straight away. Just would have liked to see a bit more from it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Pyro Ball that it sent out and the way it was trying to kick the Thunder away, I mean, it was super well animated. It was really good to see. I would have just liked a little bit more from it, since it was the first and probably only time that we'll see a Gigantamax Cinderace on the screen. The next part I want to talk about is the animation. I mean, throughout this entire episode, I've been saying the animation has been absolutely incredible, and yeah, you can tell they put all the budget into this episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, Pokémon Journeys hasn't exactly been terrible animation. Let's talk about the returns and the fact that we got to see all of Ash's traveling companions and friends, and all of Ash's Pokemon, and yeah, just fantastic to see. Even though the traveling companions were just a picture on the screen, it was still really good to see. And I do want to say big thanks to the Pokemon animators for making sure that all of Ash's Pokemon had at least a line to say. I mean, they all got to say the names, and they all did, you know, sort of like a little movement. They just stand there and do nothing. Yeah, it was really amazing to see that. Let's talk about Ash winning. I mean, Ash is now the champion of the world, so the big question is on everyone's mind, not just my own, is what's next? What's Ash's next goal? He is now a Pokemon Master. Do they find someone else, you know, to be the main character of the Pokemon anime? Are they just gonna soft reset him, pretend that he's a brand new trainer like they did in Unova? Be interested to see what they do next, because he's accomplished his goals. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what they do with him in the future. Finally, let's talk about the cliffhanger. They did leave it on a cliffhanger with Ash answering the phone saying, oh, it's Go, it's probably something to do with Mew. And then it cut. We also learned that today they've added 3 new episodes to Pokemon Journeys, because I thought this was going to be the final episode. I've seen a lot of places that episode 132 would be the final episode of Pokemon Journeys, but I'm so glad they've continued it. Yeah, the next 3 episodes, I mean, one's called Project Mew, the other one's called Seize the Future, and then the final one is called Pokemon I'm Glad I Got to Meet You, which I believe is going to be the final episode, which I may or may not actually do a review on, thinking if it's going to be the finale. But anyway, what rating would I give this episode? I mean, there's only one rating I could give this episode, and it's pretty much been similar to all the other episodes in the Masters 8 tournament, apart from that one where we followed them 2 children and it was pointless. But the rating I'm going to give this episode is 100 out of 10, with the recommendation to definitely go and check this episode out. You will not be disappointed at all. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave this episode off. But I do want to say a big thank you to everybody. I know everyone's probably clicking off by this point because no one really watches outros in videos anymore. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's been checking out these videos. Like I said at the beginning, if I knew this is where Pokemon Journeys would have been heading all the way back in episode 1, then I definitely would have covered many more episodes, if not all. Yeah, smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. It lets me know if you do want to see me more of these in the future. Comment down below in the comment section if you want to ask any questions, or let me know what moves I got wrong, because I know there's probably a few. And finally, subscribe to the channel if you are new, because although Pokemon Journeys reviews may be ending, I'm sure there'll be another anime around the corner to do with Pokemon soon. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the future.